Good morning, everyone. I've just got my test stream on the side, so I'm just going to wait until I can start hearing myself talk on that. Then I'll mute that channel. Then we'll get on with today's pen chat. It's another cold day here in Australia. We've had a little bit of a move around. We've had the painters in. The watercolour is definitely different. Yep. Now I can hear myself talking. Let me just go and mute that, because you don't hear me from the past as well as the current. Let's just move this over, get myself settled in. So how are we all today? How's things going? How's your week been? What pens have you been using this week? Why don't you drop a comment down below in the chat? Oh, is it off to the side? I can never remember. On my test one, it's off to the side. Let me go. Good morning. Hello, Marie. Yep, definitely looking forward to the chat today. Teresa. And who else have we got? It's Miss Marilyn Darling. Morning all. And where Teresa is this evening. Yeah, 8:30 in the morning here. Sunday morning. My wife's still in bed, so I get a little bit of peace and quiet. Miss Marilyn Darling just got back from a Pride event. We've got a couple more hellos. Let me just quickly pop them up. So, it's been an interesting week this week. As I say, we've had, for the last couple of weeks, the painters have been in. The whole house is like a pigsty at the moment. We've got stuff all over, because we're taking this opportunity to really thin down a little bit. I will be honest, I'm a bit of a hoarder. Yesterday I was going through my DVD collection and we're getting rid of half of it. We're going to send it to the local thrift store, but to be honest, I think they only end up throwing them away. Hi Gary, welcome to the chat today. Hello Blonde Scales 1. Got quite a few people joining in. Right, let's kick off today. A couple more hellos coming in. So what I thought we'd talk about today is looking back over the past 3 weeks, where the past 3 Tuesdays I've been looking at the top 5 pens that I would buy again, and then in each top 5 I picked the top 1. And what I thought we'd do is just take a quick look at that one pen that I selected. Now this isn't scripted, so I'm going to be talking about these pens from memory. Any messages, any comments about it, please drop them into the comment, and then I'll keep coming back and reading that. So we'll swap on over to the top-down view. Here we go. Just looking off to the side, make sure that everything's in camera. So with my pens, this top 5 list, I split it into 3 price ranges. I went for under $50, that's $50 Aussie. I think that works out about $35 US off the top of my mind. And then what I've also done is then $50 to $100 and then over $100. I do these really because I find that they're the price ranges most people seem to buy in. You know, a number of comments have been saying that people like to see the cheaper pens because, you know, yes, the more expensive, can't talk. Yes, the more expensive pens, they're nice, but so are the cheaper ones. So I'd split them down. The first pen, though, the pen that I picked for the under 50 I can't talk today. The first pen, the under $50 winner, I picked the Kaweco Sport. This is the transparent white version. A very nice pen, very light pen. It was, let me get my notes. I do have it written down how much it was, because I've got a memory like a sieve. It was 34 Aussie dollars when I bought it. I buy most of my pens from Cult Pens in the UK, and that's where this one came from. They're a lot cheaper than buying pens here. There's some weird Australia tax. I think it's, to be honest, I think it's due to things like import duty. But pens over here, very much more expensive. I've got a video I'm recording tomorrow where I'm looking at inks, and I'm looking at diamine inks. Let me just fetch my notes. You can actually see my notes for this. The video won't go out for, well, it's for a July ink comparison. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at Writer's Blood and Ox Blood from Diamine. And we can see here, the Diamine Ox Blood, I bought that from Pulp Addiction, which is an Australian retailer. That cost me $9 Aussie. The Diamine Writer's Blood I got from Cult Pens. That cost me $4 Aussie. So massive, big difference there in cost. You know, it's more than double the price. That's just looking at ink. Pens is very similar. So, yeah, I tend to buy most of my pens from overseas. Usually, I say Cult Pens. Occasionally, I'll get them from, not Cult Pens. Yeah. So I usually buy Cult Pens in the UK. Occasionally from Appelboom in the Netherlands, in Holland. And then I've bought a couple of pens from Pen Chalet and Goulet Pens in the States. So anyway, we were talking about this. So very nice pen, very light pen. Say 34 Aussie dollars, quite a nice amount. If I'm gently taking that off. One of the issues I've had with this pen is to do with the fact I'm reusing my cartridges. So all I do is just fill that with a blunt nose syringe. But what I've found with this is the cartridge keeps coming out. Now I do have one of the little tiny Kaweco converters, you know, where you get maybe 3 drops of ink in it. What I'm toying with when this is empty, because it just keeps coming out so often, is I'm actually going to eyedropper this one. Because it's transparent, I'll have an idea about my ink level. And I think that would look quite nice. But the under 50, I'd say, it was the Kaweco Sport. On here, I've got a 1.1 stub. Absolutely love the way this writes. 34 Aussie dollars. The ink is, what's the ink in here? Turn my notes over where I've got my list of pens and inks. Oh, it's by Diamine. And it's Yule Log. So this is from last year's Inkvent calendar. Now I'm just going to lift this up to the camera. I'm not sure there. Yeah, there it goes over. Got this gorgeous shimmer in there. So it's like a coppery shimmer, or like a, yeah, copper, maybe bright copper. Lovely colour. Definitely on the Kaweco it's coming out. A little bit on the Diamine. I really like this pen. I say, I got a couple of them. They're just so handy. I can take these. I normally pop them in my pockets. Again, one of the things which may be causing this to come out is it just gets chucked in my pocket, so it gets bounced around a lot. Once I've eyedroppered it, though, you know, I'll put a bit of silicone grease on it. I think that'll be fine. Just jump over to some comments. Miss Marilyn there. Yeah, the platinum converters. What? I'm not going to say a rip-off, but when you're spending like $200-300 for a pen, why should you have to buy a converter as well? They should come with it. Blonde Scales 1, love my sports. Yeah, it's such a convenient pen. Very nice. You know, it's so light you hardly know you've got it. And what I've got, let me just reach round the back. It's not this particular one. I bought last year, this is something like the 7 Shades of Paper. It was by, what's the name of it? Fabriano. It's on the back. And what it was a packet of 7 different papers. So I did do a test there, and I did that on them all. This one, I've got it written down somewhere. Yeah, that's that word. So this is a bit like I want to call it tracing paper. But the beauty about these is the pages come out dead easy. So I carry around one of these. It's more, the one I've got is more, it's like a more standard type paper at the moment. But the perfect size, you know, they go in my cargo pants trousers, and the pen and the paper just work so nicely together. Couple more hellos. Yeah, Teresa, Writer's Blood, really like it. My only issue, and that's why I'm going to be doing the video really, it does seem to be a bit on the wet side for a lot of my pens. And there's a couple where it just takes so long to dry. Marilyn, yeah, remember to put in a cooperative ink that washes out. Yeah, what I'm going to be doing, I mainly use dominant industry, not dominant, diamine inks, and a couple of dominant industry ones. They seem to be quite good. Yeah, I'm loving this Yule log in here. The other one I've had in here, again, it's brown, is I have had diamine, not diamine, dominant industry Lungo. It's a bit like a coffee coloured ink. Very nice. Marilyn put in, I'm assuming that's writer's blood going into the Preppy. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I've got a medium nibbed Preppy, which might look quite nice with that. Anyway, that was the under 50. 50 to 100. The one I picked there was a TWSBI Diamond 580. Got a load of TWSBI Ecos. This is actually my only 580. I do like this. Let's fetch it up. See if I can get in camera and catch this. I like the faceting on the body. Just adds a little bit of interest to it. I went for the complete transparent. I love the demonstrator. I love seeing everything about this. When I got this, I actually bought it with, I think it was either a fine or an extra fine nib. And then as I've found I've been getting more into wider nibs, let me see if I can get this to focus a little bit better, is you can buy you can buy a nib unit. So I bought a broad one. So that's what's in here. Dead easy, just screws in and out. So I can swap them around. So even though I've got one pen, I've got nice choice of different nibs. So this is the TWSBI Diamond 580 with a broad nib. This one cost me 72 Aussie dollars. I think I paid about 20 Aussie dollars for the nib unit. The ink in here is Diatramentis Cherry. One of the things I do like about this is it's scented. Can't really smell the scent when you're writing, but certainly when you open the bottle, it's nice to get a nice little sniff. Marilyn, she had one of the Rainbow 580s. I've got one of those on. God, my brain's gone dead. It's not the VAC 700R. I've got the Irish version of that. But Marilyn, was able to get a replacement from TWSBI. I've got a number of pens where certainly I've got a Parker Jotter. I paid a whole massive whopping $2 for it. It was bought from a car boot sale. And when I bought it, it was, it was secondhand, I'd say. And I used it once. It was all right. I thought the nib was a little bit scratchy. So I pulled out the nib and feed to give it a good clean. I thought, well, it could be because somebody else has had it. There could still be a whole load of old ink in there. And as I was cleaning that, the nib went down the drain. So what I've done is, not last year, maybe even a couple of years ago, I bought what is a Cult Pens exclusive. It's called the Cult Pens Mini. It's made for them by Kaweco. Let me just grab it. There we go. There's my European box. This Cult Pens Mini. Too small for me. Way too small. Absolutely tiny. Even posted, it's tiny. You'll notice there's a section but no nib, because it was a tiny nib. So what I did, I'll actually fetch out that Jotter. I put that Kaweco nib onto the Jotter here. I haven't filled this and used it yet. Maybe I need to do that. I do have a converter in there. So I'm actually going to leave this out of the box. And I'll give that a test. I'll get that loaded up, because that'd be interesting. That might be worth a video as well. Let me make a note. If I can remember where I put my notebook. Well, I'll just do a quick. Just fetch the keyboard in. Let's actually go over to the computer. You don't want to see them stats. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a video idea. I'm not going to open Audacity. I don't know, computers doing what they want, when they want. So let's add a video idea. No, wrong buttons. There. I'm going to add a pen idea to Notion. That's where I store my videos. So let's do a Parker Jotter focus. There we go. This is what I do. This is how I know I'm going off topic, but this is how I plan all my videos. That's a fountain pen focus. So that's now into the system, ready to go. Let's switch back over to the top-down view. So that's going to get put to one side. Just pop that over there. So anyway, that was the second pen. That was a $50 to $100. This was only meant to take 5 minutes. I think I'm up to about 20. The final pen, the over $100 Bennu Talisman. Love this pen. Really nice. It's sparkly. Bennu pens, very sparkly, aren't they? This one, not too bad, which is, to be honest, one of the reasons I got it. It's called Dragon's Blood. I love fantasy. I love reading about dragons, so I thought, yeah, that fits in with my, what I like reading. Nib on here is a Schmidt nib. I have to be careful how I pronounce that because it could end up coming out completely inappropriate. Lovely nib, loads of feedback. This is then, it's a Bennu Talisman. It's got a broad nib. The ink looks like it might be running out. Diamine, Garland. Let me just open this up. A little bit of ink in there, so I shouldn't have had any issues. There is a shimmer in the ink, so it could be the shimmer's causing an issue. That's one of the things I found with a few pens I've used this week, which have got a shimmer in it. But when it writes, it's lovely. I really enjoy this. Just wondering why I'm getting those issues. I'm not sure if it's going to come over. We've got a nice red sheen. Hopefully that's coming out. Just trying to look at my camera previews. And then it's also got a blue shimmer to it. Now I can see that with my eyes, but it's not coming over on the camera. This is Midori cotton paper. I'm not sure how well it reacts with some of my pens. But these were my winning pens. So under 50. I haven't put how much the Bennu Talisman was. That was 167 Aussie dollars. And I've got to be honest, I find the $34 pen writes just as well as the $167 pen. Just really showing price isn't overly relevant. So what pens have I been using this week? You'd seen some of them in my sneak peek at the start. Let's go over and look at comments first, though. Come on, Gary, get this thing working. There we go, it's better. I've got stuff going all over. Teresa recently bought the 518. I have looked at the 518 Iris. I don't know, maybe I'm a bit of a skinflint, but it's double the price, near enough, of a normal 580. So I haven't really bothered with it. I do like the idea. Marilyn, yeah, putting a mesh drain, that's a good idea because the amount of times when I've been fortunate, I've rescued most of them. It was just that one on that Jotter. I mean, I didn't cry too much because it was only like a $2 pen. Marilyn loves tiny pens. I do find my problem with that. Let me just fetch it back in again. It's over on the side. Like with this Cult Pens one, it's the thinness more than the length that I find is a problem. Posted, it's not too bad. Still a bit sharp, but I just find the way I hold it, because I hold it down near the bottom of the section, my fingers are pressing together and it causes me an ache here at the pad on my thumb. That's the main reason which puts me off them. Teresa, yeah, it's definitely a sinking feeling when it goes down. Blonde Scales 1, don't use the sink for pen cleaning because knows that will drop something down. Yeah, I mean, certainly it was a lesson when it happened. And Blonde Scales has got the little blue pen as well. It is a nice pen, I say. It was just too thin. So hopefully, I mean, this Parker isn't actually that much better. So we'll have to see how it goes on. I can soon switch the nib back, though, if necessary. Marilyn, and then Massachusetts. See, this is where Garry can't speak. Teresa, I do like the look of the bourbon. It's still my problem is it's just too too sparkly. I think that's my biggest issue with Benus. Marie, oops, going down too far, was able to get the Twisby in Jade. Again, I've looked at some of them. I've got 3 ecos. I've got an orange one, I've got a green one, and I've got a black one. But there's something about Twisby which really puts me off at the moment. I'm not sure what it is. I know there was all the kerfuffle, was it last year or earlier this year, with what they were trying to do with Narwhal and Moonman. That was a little bit bitter, but that's not really what it is. I think with the ecos, they just don't excite me like some of the other pens do, even though they are very nice writers. Marilyn, Garland, one of those thick inks. Yeah, normally in this pen, which is why it's in here, Garland works really well. And I say I'm not sure why it's playing up, because this is today's pen. So I've already written about 4 or 5 pages with this pen this morning. So it's been sat in the box for a while. So yeah, not sure why it's playing up. Yeah, I'll have to get. I don't have any white lighting. I don't have any white lighting. Lighting. Oh, do you know I cannot get these words out. White lightning. That's something I do have to get. I haven't seen the Bennu Parrot. The other one that I like the look of, I think it was one of the Gold Spot exclusives. It was the one they did with Penboy Roy. Really like the look of that one. But again, just too busy for me. Marilyn has the 580 Iris. Yeah, I say it was just tossed, which put me off. Marilyn, yeah, they're a bit too. They are. That's the problem with that Cult Pens Mini. It's still nice though. I still enjoy it. Sorry. So Teresa, yeah, Sparkly is her middle name. Yeah, Sparkly is nice, but it's a bit impractical though for if you're going to a business meeting. That's the only thing I find. I don't have a swipe yet. I have looked at the swipes, but again, I don't know what it is. They just don't excite me. I think it's nice that they're trying something different though. Purple, the best colour. Yeah, Miss Marilyn, darling, thanks for the offer, but I don't know. I'm not sure how much I'd use it because most of my inks are fairly wet. I say most of them are diamine and they do perform quite well. Marie, reading through this, she's saying that probably will never get a Lamy 2000. I'm with you. I don't have a Lamy 2000. I keep looking at them and I keep thinking, nah, there's other more interesting stuff out there for me. Teresa, yeah, hopefully they'll do a restock of that Penboy Roy one. I was listening to their podcast yesterday with it. Was it Vanessa Langton, the guest? Love listening to their podcasts on a, it's actually normally a Sunday morning, but it was a bit early my time. Marilyn, yeah, the Lamy 2000, not that exciting. I do have a Chinese pen. Can I quickly find it? It's very, very similar to a Lamy 2, very similar-ish. Keiko Edge is like the same Macrolon material. This was 10 Aussie dollars. You know, it's not a bad pen. But nothing really jumps out with the material. I'd love to put away back. Yeah, blonde scales one, definitely acting up because it's on camera. I agree with you there. Always seems to happen, doesn't it? Okay, let's get on with writing. So we'll come back to the comments again in a minute. So the first pen I used this week was by Visconti, and it's a Visconti Van Gogh. Absolutely love this. This is, I think it's portrait in blue. I love the way that we've got these facets on the body. You can feel them, but not when you're writing, but you definitely when you're rubbing your fingers on them. Beautiful colour. Teeny weeny nib. It's a steel nib. Now, somebody was saying these used to be in gold nibs. I'd love to have had this in a gold nib, but it was a lot of money for a steel nib. So, Visconti Van Gogh. Broad nibbed. I don't have the prices for these. I should really get them. I'll have to remember to do that in the future. The ink in here, that was Diamine Aqua Lagoon. I do think, to be honest, it's quite important to give people an idea about the price of a pen, because you might go, when I'm writing this, thinking, wow, that looks lovely. Then when you go and look at it, I think this was 347 Aussie dollars, something like that. You think, Christ almighty, that's a lot of money. Oh, well, that's what I think anyway. That's why when I do a lot of my reviews, I do try to put the price, just so it gives people an idea. So, you know, we can't afford expensive pens all the time. I know if you look at my collection, 3/4 of it, they're under $50. You know, and I love using them. So that's why, you know, I think the price is important. I do have a Visconti. I'm just going to jump forward. Yes, that was a Van Gogh. I do have a Visconti Breeze. He says, knocking his shelf all over. Visconti Breeze, where is it? It was inked up. It is inked up because I've been using it. Do you know? See, these are my inked up pens. I don't know where I've put the Breeze. Oh well. Here it is. The Visconti Breeze. Why this is out is I'm actually filming tomorrow a fountain pen focus on it. My wife will not be happy. I've got a red ink in here. Yeah, so I've got the Breeze. The Breeze still there. It's a lot of money. So let's go and carry on. So the second pen of the week. I was going to just write with it. Leonardo Memento Zero Grande. I absolutely love this pen. It's the first Leonardo I had. And I know not everybody likes it, but I like this section. So the Leonardo Memento Zero Grande. And this has got a medium nib. I'll be honest with you, this is my favourite Leonardo nib. It really is. The ink in here, dominant Industry. Winterwood. Nice, enjoyable ink to write with. A nice brown colour there. Also got hints of like a green sheen that come out. It does remind me of walking through a wood in the winter where you've got the brown of the trees. And then on them, you've also got the green of the moss. Next pen. We're doing a massive jump. That dominant, that was, both those last two pens were well over 300 Aussie dollars. This one was 7. This is a Jinhao X250. You'll see this featured in Friday's video because it's the start of the pens I'm going to be using during July. So we've got here a Jinhao X250, fine nibbed, and the ink in here is by Diamine Brandy Snap. Really nice ink. I see a lot of shading in this ink coming from this pen. Sorry, just coughing. Just going to take a quick mouthful of tea. Although I didn't show it on the camera, today's tea cup is a Star Wars one. Okay, my next pen. Let's just move the paper up. Bit of a bright pen. This is a Fully Wen 017. Very bright, very in your face. I'll explain why on Friday. So we've got here a Fully Wen 017, medium nib, and in here I've got Diamine Bliss. Lovely pale blue, like a turquoisey type coloured ink. And I think it actually looks quite nice with some of the tones that come through from the pen. Next pen I've got, heavy pen, is the Monteverde Ritma. This is the olive version. I think it was from 2 years ago. I originally had this inked up with Diamine Olive Swirl. That's what I was writing with at the start of the week when I was using this pen. But I've changed it. The ink I've got in here now is Diamine Mistletoe. What I was finding with that Olive Swirl, because it's a chameleon ink, and I think that was blocking the feed, because when I was writing, I'd write about 3/4 of a page and the ink would just dry out completely. I'd then have to go prime the feed before it would start writing again. Let me just remove that. Anyway, I got rid of the comment. I'm not very good at working two things. I'm male, I can't multitask. This is a nice pen though, nice and heavy. As I said, the feed is what I thought was getting blocked. So what I did is actually pulled out a whole nib unit, put it through my ultrasonic cleaner, gave it a good clean out, put it back in, filled it with the Diamine Mistletoe, which is just a standard ink. And so far in my testing, it's been fine. I'll know better next week though when it becomes a daily pen again. So this is the Monteverde Ritma, that broad nib, and Diamine Mistletoe. Very nice colour. I think it goes well though with the olive, so it's not too bad a replacement ink. The next pen I've got is by Ranga, and it's the Ranga Santa. Lovely pen, very, very bright, isn't it? I saw this advertised, and I'll tell the full story in Friday's video. This was I saw it at the start of December of last year. It was an immediate order. You know, it's called the Santa. It's perfect Christmas pen. I got on here, the option I chose was for a Yoho nib, and I went for a 1.1 stub. So we've got here the Ranga. I love the line variation. And the ink in here is Diamine Spiced Apple. Now I don't know if I've moved this around enough. You might see some of it, but this ink has got a really nice shimmer to it. Well, I think again it's a chameleon rather than a shimmer, but you can see as it's drying, you know, on this, in the word spiced on that P, you see a bit there. Really nice. I say it's a Christmassy themed pen. When you see Friday's video, you'll understand why, because my July pens, Christmas in July. My final pen that I was writing with this week, This was the one I did the first impressions with on Friday. That's Friday just gone. This is a Jinhao 85. This is a wooden body. Yes, we got in there the converter. This ran out of ink on Friday. I filled it again with the exact same ink. I'm loving this Tombow. The wood is nice. You know, it feels very smooth. I'm assuming it's wood and not plastic that's been made to look like wood. We've got the Fude nib on here. So hopefully, let me see if I can get that to come into focus. The Fude are bent nib. So this is a Jinhao 85. Love the way that this writes with this line variation. Fude. And if I go like this, the ink, Diamine, Ultimark. You know, same pen, just changing my angle and I get a different line. Very nice pen. Another cheap pen. I can't remember exactly how much it was. It's definitely under $10. So they're the pens that I've been writing with this week. Let's swap back over to the camera. I'll scoot on over a little bit. Excuse me a second. Oh, I've got full of cold. My nose is running terrible. So that's the pens. Let's go back to the comments. Marie. Talking about the Lamy 2000. I completely with you. You have to love the way it looks. It's not just how it writes. And one of the things I say in a lot of my videos, the key thing with pens is it lets you get ideas out of your head and onto paper in a manner that you enjoy. And that's not just down to the way it writes, the way it feels, but also the way it looks. It's all part of this tactile and audible and what's the word? When you see it through your eyes, it all comes together. Same with the paper. You know, having different papers makes a big difference. The paper that I've been using this week for my actual writing, it's a cheap notepad I've got, and you get no sheen, no shimmer, which is fine for most inks. But like I say, today I was using the Benu, and in my journal, I'm not going to show you my journal, which is Oxford Optic paper. The ink, it was coming out with all these red shades and with the bits of blue. But then when I went into my writing notebook, you don't see anything. It's just that base teal colour. Marie, yeah, that Von Gogh is beautiful. I've got a video lined up today. I think it was a YouTube short from Apple Boom to watch of a different one. I've got the two Viscontis. I've got the Breeze, which I showed a little bit early, and I've got that Van Gogh. I'd love to get the Visconti Dark Ages, the Homo sapiens Dark Ages. I really like the look of that. I keep looking at it. I look at the price and think, nope, not paying that much. Marilyn Darling was on sale for $260, so I'm assuming that's the Van Gogh. Yeah, it was $350. Again, Marilyn loves the Memento Magico. I've got a Magico in orange. What I've tried to do, I've got 3 Leonardo pens. I've got the Memento Zero Grande. I've got the Magico, no, Meal, not orange. It looks orange, but it's called Meal. And I've also got a Ferrari. I've got a broad nib on the Magico, and on the Ferrari, I've got a 1.1 stub. So what I do with them is I've always got one inked up. And I try to limit it to only having the one. Otherwise, I might end up reaching for Leonardo only. Yeah, it's a piston pen, very smooth. Let me just pull it out. The beauty of having all these boxes, so I can get into things really easy. Here's a Magico. I'll go back over to the desk camera. There's no ink in this at the moment. It's got an ink window, and it's got this really nice piston mechanism. Works really well. There, you can hopefully see that coming down. I'll say it's called meal. It's quite attractive. Said I've also got the Ferrari. The Ferrari, that's a capture converter. So there we go with that. Go back to my face. I know, shocking, you have to look at my face. Yeah, so that Magico, that's in abroad as well. Teresa, how I got into the Leonardos. So Teresa's got a Leonardo on her wish list. I wasn't sure if I'd like them or not. So what I did is, he says, pulling it out. I'll just show it on this camera. I started off with the Moonman or Marjan, as it is now, M800s. They're the same shape. I mean, they're heavily inspired by the Leonardo Momento Zero line. I loved the one I got, so I've got all 4 colours of the M800s. Got 2 with bot nibs. I bought 2 with Moonman nibs. They're number 6 nibs, so one of them I've already changed the nib. I think I've got a broad goulet nib on it. Absolutely love them. Memento Magico from Goldspot, 199. That's not bad. Teresa Ritmer's notorious for bad nibs. Yeah, I've heard quite a lot of that. And why I got it, somebody had recommended it as being a nice heavy pen. And I had already had a Conklin, which I had an absolute nightmare with. It's a Conklin All-American. And they said, you know, Yaffa, I think it's Yaffa brands own both of them, and it's worth giving it a try. But yeah, really found that brain's gone dead. My brain's terrible for going dead. This is why on my videos I edit out a lot, because I get a lot of this when I'm recording. So yeah, I thought, well, let's give that a try, because they're Yoho nibs. And I say, had a major problem with it. At the moment, with mistletoe, not too bad. And then Guy, welcome. I've got to be honest, he's saying here that he finds that Sheen and inks give issues in the feed more often than Shimmer. And I've got to be honest, I know exactly what you're saying. I've noticed that with a couple of other pens. And that's something, what I think I need to do is start writing it down rather than keeping it in my mind. I'm terrible for trying to keep everything in my head. I know it's a bad habit. What I should do is start writing it down, because, you know, data in your head isn't data. It's just an anecdote. Whereas data that you capture when it happens, write it down. That's where you can do something. Dogan, like this Monteverde. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's the only Monteverde pen I've got. So far, not had any problems with it. What's the oldest pen I have? Let me grab the right one. Oh. There go both the shelves. Having a really good day with shelves today. I'm surprised the wife hasn't come running in. The oldest pen that I have is... I've just got to get the right one. The Jota is actually the oldest, although I've only had it a little while. When I checked because you got the date stamp on there, it was made in 1996. Essentially, this was born the same year as my son. So that's the oldest one I've got, but the oldest other one I've got is this. This is a Parker Sonnet. Steel nib. I don't think I've got the converter in here. No. Throwing it around. I'm having a terrible dropsy day today. Not sure if you'll see this on the camera. Let me see if I can get that to focus. See it a little bit there. Grandad. And then underneath that as a date, 2009. This was a gift back in 2009 from some of my grandkids. So that's the actual oldest pen that I've got, that I've had the longest. Let me just pop that back in the right place. Let's carry on. I love that spiced apple as well. of last year's inks, that was my favourite. So we've got a couple of hellos again. Marilyn loves the emerald. Yeah, Pelican's Ocean Swirl. I like anything green, to be honest, apart from the walls in this room. Bad colour. I've got a nice wall, though, now I can use for a green screening if I want to. Teresa had a Conklin coronet. Yeah, I said the All-American I've got was a nightmare, absolute nightmare, no matter what ink I put in it. Even writer's blood, which I find really, really wet, would dry out so quickly. I was generously sent by a viewer from within Australia another Conklin, the what's the name of the model? Durograph. Conklin Durograph. Let me just... No, that's not the Durograph. Where is it? Where have I put it? Oh, well... Oh, I'm losing pens. I'm losing my marbles, I swear. Anyway, here it is. The Durograph. Because, I've been whinging so much. Actually, not too bad at the moment. I need to do more testing with it. But in the limited testing that I've done so far, I have had a couple of issues. I think it's to do with the ink. What I need to do is swap out the ink. I just haven't got around to doing that yesterday. Yeah, now I can never remember. That might be the Jinhao 250. I know I said it's 250. I'm sure when I bought it, it was advertised in X 250. Blonde Scales 1. The oldest is a Schaefer balance that belonged to her grandmother, or his grandmother. It's hard to tell gender. I know I'm terrible with that. Just shout me out if I get a gender wrong, because I'm useless. I think, to me, the older pens, especially ones where there's a story, they're so important. They're the things where it doesn't matter if it writes well or not. They're the ones you remember. And with that Parker, I don't use it very often, but when I do, it's always fetching back my grandkids. And they all live in the UK, so I don't see them very often, so it's actually nice to get that. Marilyn, don't like the Durograph or Duraflex pen. They always freeze up. That's what I've found so far, and this is why I need to change the ink. The ink in there, actually coming back to what an ink guy was saying, the ink in there is a sheening ink, and I think that's a problem. I can't remember. It might be Jack Frost. I can't pull it up in my database because everything's been in use. I want to say it's Jack Frost. It's a sheening ink anyway. Blonde Scales, thank you. Your Majesty. I love it. Okay. One of the things I want to mention here is, I think I mentioned very briefly last week, is I've set up a membership page now over on YouTube. Let me see if I've got it up. So let me switch on over to the computer view. Did I get the right one? There we go. Here's the computer view. So this is what it looks like. I've got some badges on there. And what I'll be doing initially is I'm going to be giving early access to new videos. When I upload a video, I upload it usually 2 days beforehand. So the video that's going out today, later on, was uploaded on Friday. So what I'll be doing for members, when I upload it, they'll be given access straight away. So they get a couple of days or a day or so early. Member shout-outs, yeah, what I'll do, like on a lot of them, I'll create like an end screen which has got everybody there, and hopefully do shout-outs during the video as well. They said to put this priority reply to comments. Look, it's on there. To be honest, I look at all the comments hopefully every day. I try to look at them once a day, sometimes a couple of times, depends how busy I am. I don't reply to every comment. What I do, if I see a comment, when I've read it, I hit the thumbs up button. And if somebody asks a question in the comment, then that's when I reply. Or if there's something else I can add to build on the conversation, I reply. So they said that to add that, but to me, I think that's stupid because it's something I do anyway. And then there'll be members only videos. So each week I create, for the start of these videos, a little, 2.5 minutes, because I use the same music, showing the pens I've used during the week. So that'll be going up, and that'll be members only. And then I'm looking at and thinking about doing some other members only content. Just not sure. Haven't had anybody join yet, so I haven't spent too much time thinking about it. And if I start getting people becoming members, I'll actually be talking with them to work out what else can we do, what else can I fetch to make that membership valuable. So that's something, if you've got the will to do that, please take a look. Let's go back to the camera. This week's videos. So the videos that we've had out this week. On Sunday, we had my thoughts on the tournament, on the fountain pen tournament. I tried to keep that quick. Oh, sorry. I think it was about 10 minutes, something like that. But they were my thoughts, what I learned from it and what I want to do differently. I do intend to do another tournament. And one of the key things that I've seen from the comments, people like the idea of splitting it into more price levels. Sorry. Here's my Star Wars mug, as I say. Oh, my tea's gone cold. It's peppermint tea, so it's not too bad. Tuesday, that were the pens that I would rebuy over $100. Really loved doing that series. Friday, that was a Jinhao 85 unboxing, which we've just seen. And yesterday on my Tricky Questions channel, that was my June quiz. There were 10 quiz questions. It's a smaller channel, doesn't have as many people. I do toy with the idea of putting these videos onto this main channel, but I like the idea of keeping them separate. Videos coming up. Today, this afternoon, I've got a fountain pen focus for you. It's a pen that I love the name of. Let me just pull it out, then I can give you a quick look at it. It's the Hongdian, the Light of Hope. So I'm focusing on this, giving you my thoughts on this pen. Very nice, enjoyable pen to use. What to me is more important about this pen, and I do make this out in the video, it's not the look of the pen, it's not the way it writes, it's the name. I love the name, the Light of Hope. It's inscribed on the pen. What do we need more of nowadays but hope? So absolutely love it for that. I've had the pen a couple of years, and that's why I thought it's time to do a focus on that. On Tuesday, I've got my wrap-up video from June, so that's where I rank the pens that I was using in June. I love doing those ones. Friday, pens in July. So my Christmas in July pens. You've seen some of them already because I actually filmed the video last week. I like to get most of my videos filmed in advance. Then what I do is I'll start using the pens so they get a good month's use before I actually record the wrap-up. Saturday, the 1st of July, the video then is what is the Doomsday Clock. So this is on my other channel, and this is looking at the Doomsday Clock, which is something we hear about at the start of each year. You know, it's so many minutes to midnight, and it's meant to be a metaphor for a catastrophic man-made or human-made event which destroys us all. And that's one of the things that I thought was quite interesting. And when I looked into it, there's actually not that much about it. But what is there was really interesting. So that's the videos that are coming up. Let's jump on in. Marilyn Darling identifies as a queen. Excellent. I love seeing your videos. If you don't watch Marilyn Darling's videos, please go ahead. I love the way the writing's done. An ink guy about using hearts. Brilliant idea. Thank you for that. That's something I will start using because I do want people. I think it's important that people know that I've seen and read the comment, even if I haven't replied to it. And that's something which is, I say, really, really important. Teresa, Light of Hope, yeah, I say that pen, when I bought it, the only reason I bought it was the name. I just think, I don't know how best to describe it. I just think it's absolutely awesome. Marilyn Darling, oh, thank you. Marilyn Darling, loved the content. An ink guy. What I like with that is seeing it's like consistency of comparing the inks. I think that's brilliant. And the was it the Platinum 3776 experiment? I mean, 2 years. I don't know if I could commit to 2 years just for content towards one video. And the other one I've watched of his lately was the one with gold spot pens. It was at the Platinum Curadas, and leaving it so long. I thought that was brilliant. Marilyn, I used to do that, but what I'm finding now is a lot of the comments are like, just nice video. I don't know how to, I could put thanks, but I just find, but I like this idea of using a heart. I like that. Marie, thumbs up, everyone, and then Marilyn with a thumbs up. Thank you. Any more questions? Can you quickly pop them in? We're up to the hour. My wife has walked past the door 3 times, so I think she's dropping a hint that she thinks I've talked for too much. I won't be surprised if I get a little shout in a minute saying, I'm fed up of listening to you. Well, that's not exactly the words she'll use. There'll be a lot more words to it involved, but that's what it means. The time has definitely come, Marilyn. Happy wife is what they say, isn't it? Anyway, it's been brilliant. Yeah, brilliant talking to you, Marilyn. Love talking to everybody on a Sunday morning. I make sure I get up extra early so I can get everything ready. I really enjoy these lives. I will be honest, before I did the first one, I thought, I don't think I'll like it, but I do. I love the interactivity. Teresa, enjoyed it. Now, one of the things I might look at in a future video, again, just have some thoughts, maybe drop some comments. I'm going to start rereading some books, and I wonder if that's something people would be interested in, what I'm thinking of reading books. The ones I'm thinking of rereading are the Terry Pratchett books. Anyway, as Marilyn said, have a lovely Sunday. Hope everyone has a really good week. Let us know what you're writing with. Let us know how you're getting on. And I'll talk to you all again soon.